stand your ground.
Stay on your ground. If you take anything from this episode, just communicate with your in-laws or your mom, especially your mom.
You know your baby best.
Absolutely. You are the expert. As much as you're learning the baby is learning you. You are still the expert because you are the one that gave birth to that baby. Hello, I'm Tijani Musa.
And I'm Yasmin Musa. And this is how we're doing it.
Welcome to our How We're Doing It. Here we'll share stories about our journey and experiences of being first-generation college graduates, our family, buying our first home, moving across the country, and living a debt-free lifestyle. We do so in an authentic, fun, and educational way to help other first-generation immigrants with similar paths. So, today is an interesting topic.
Today, we're talking about how to prepare for your newborn.
All right.
So you just delivered this beautiful baby. You're bringing it home. Now what? And then throughout this episode, we're going to drop, some
gems on gems.
Gems, stories of our journey and how that came about.
Yes. And this is not clinical because we're not doctors.
No. And a lot of this information we got from a class that we took.
Yes.
Preparing to bring our newborn home.
Yes.
When we were expecting. So
yep.
It's a lot of great information.
Absolutely. Because I think as new parents, I guess depending on your insurance, right? You get to have the opportunity to take a new parent's classes paid through your insurance company. And so Yasmin and I were fortunate to have had that opportunity where her insurance company, health insurance company, gave us the opportunity to take that class, and we learned a lot of good information that helped us prepare, even more so prepared for the baby post-hospital.
Yeah. So, depending on the type of birth that you have, determines the amount of time that you'll be at the hospital, right? So,
yes,
a vaginal birth will be 24 to 48 hours.
Yes.
And then if you have a cesarean birth, then that'll be 48 to 72. And it's case by case because every experience is different.
Yes.
So the first thing that we learned was that we were going to have pediatric visits after we left the hospital. So we had our first visit was 3 to 5 days after the baby was born.
Yes.
And then we had a 2-week checkup, and then a 1 month, a 2 month, 4 month, and then 6, 9, 12, 14 to 15, 18 months, and then you don't have another one till 2 years.
Hold on. You're throwing gems on gems. Let's remind the listener.
What?
Yasmin is throwing dates and appointments. You need to get a piece of paper. Pause. Get a piece of paper.
No, it's just a baseline, though. It's what to expect.
They need to take notes. This is good stuff right here, man.
You can rewind.
All right, listen to as many as you want. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that 3 to 5 days appointment, that first appointment will really be to determine the baby's weight, right? Because the baby is born at a certain weight.
Right.
And naturally, they lose some of that weight.
Yes.
After birth. And so the priority for the doctors and anybody caring for the baby is to get that baby back up to their birth weight.
Yes.
And for us, for our first appointment after the 3-5 day appointment, we actually saw a pediatrician, and then we also saw a lactation consultant.
Yes.
Because she was the one that was helping us with the birth weight and everything else in between.
Yeah. And the breastfeeding.
The breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Which was really hard for us. Well, breastfeeding is a mom's journey, but
yes,
for me, it was very hard. Because right after birth, I was diagnosed with flat nipples. So that, if you don't know what that means, Google it. I don't know how to explain it. But essentially, I had to use a nipple shield.
Yes.
And we had to do a bunch of things to try and get Jasleen to latch.
Yes.
And so we really needed the help of a lactation consultant to help us get there.
And luckily for us, it was provided by your insurance company as well.
Yes. And I remember she saw me, within those first 2 weeks, I think she saw me 2 or 3. It was at least 3 to 4 times, I think.
Yeah, she was flexible with us.
She was.
She really liked us.
She saw how stressed I was.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just the fact that she liked us. If we're being honest, I think her job is to help families, and she was really passionate about that.
Yeah.
And she saw that I really wanted to breastfeed. That was really important for me, but we were really struggling also.
Right.
And she's actually the person that shared with me that her daughter just could not do it and ended up just pumping.
Right.
I remember after my last appointment with her, I left and I was like, I'm just going to pump. I'm just going to pump and it's going to be okay.
And just to underscore what you were just saying, that journey of working with the lactation consultant is spectacularly stressful. Even for me, just watching you, how hard you were trying to make it work, how hard you were putting your time into it. It was stressful just watching you stress about it. And it was not an easy thing to see.
Yeah. I mean, feeding the baby became like it was like a 45-minute to an hour journey because first off, maybe we can talk a little bit more in depth about this, but we ended up at the hospital, we were using donor milk to feed her.
Yes.
Because I had nothing coming out. Like I was using the pump to stimulate the breast, but nothing was coming. So we were using donor milk during that time. And then once I finally got something, it still wasn't enough for the amount of milk that she needed.
Mm-hmm.
So we were having to continue supplementing with formula.
Yes.
And we were just adapting as we were going. We were learning. But it was a journey. It was quite a journey. I'd love to share it with our audience at some point.
Absolutely. And they can always, contact us on our social media or send us an email to get in-depth information of what we learned during that time and then obviously to this point.
Yeah. But another thing that you need to keep in mind at that first appointment that you're going to have is you need to know how many wet diapers and how many bowel movements your baby's having per day. And you need to keep track of that. And it's really hard because during the day, you're busy, exhausted from waking up around the clock in the middle of the night to do feedings, from everything. You're just exhausted. So the best way that we kept track of that was using Huckleberry.
Yep.
Which we have mentioned before. Yeah, It's a great application. You can both log into it using the same info. And whatever the guy puts in there, or whoever,
right?
Whatever you put in there, it's gonna pop up, and everybody will be on the same.
Everybody
page.
Will see it. Yep.
Yes.
That's a great application.
You can even do like the nanny. Like I remember one time my sister watched our daughter.
Yes.
And we told her about the app. She downloaded it and she input information for us in there.
Absolutely.
And that was very helpful.
And we could see it as she was inputting the information, even if we're away. We're able to follow up and see what's happening at the house. Yep.
Going back to the breastfeeding part, at the hospital or wherever you choose to have your baby, you are going to have to, if you want to breastfeed, they're going to ask you to put the baby on the breast during the first hour after birth.
Yeah.
And during those first 3 to 5 days, feeding is mostly to just have the baby poop and cleanse their GI tract. So for those that don't know, babies actually poop black when they're born.
Yep.
It's the medical term for it, I believe, is meconium.
Yeah.
And it's gonna that bowel movement between days 1 and 2 is gonna be basically black because they're cleaning their GI tract from what you're feeding them. Yeah, all the nasty stuff.
Yep.
It's not nasty. It was in your body, but they have to clean it out.
Right.
Then days 3 to 4, that diaper will be more transitional. The stool will be in between black and then whatever other color.
Yes.
I do know for breastfed babies that the stool tends to look watery, kind of like there's seeds in it.
Yeah.
And then it has like a yellowish tint to it.
Right.
So the baby's stomach, day 1, it's the size of a cherry. About day 2, it's the size of a walnut. And then 1 week will be the size of an apricot. And then 1 month will be the size of a large egg.
That. Thank you for that reference. That helps a lot.
And then when the baby's hungry, the baby's going to give you cues. So it's going to turn your head towards the breast. It's going to open the lips. Mm-hmm. The baby's going to look more alert.
Yes.
Crying is the last sign.
They try to grub.
Yeah. I've also heard you can look at like their fist, because sometimes that'll clue you.
Yeah, they're trying to knock you out if you don't feed them. Mm-hmm. Is that they came out the womb ready to eat. So
when they're clenched their fist, that means that they're hungry.
Okay.
Yeah. So look for those type of signs before the crying comes around.
Yeah, and as for new parents, this is not something like you have to like be overwhelmed about, because you'll learn your baby. Once you get home, you'll learn your baby. You'll know what signs means what. And as you spend more time with the baby, trust me, you get to know that baby so well. And whatever they do, you know exactly what they need from you.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're bottle feeding your baby, know that you're not supposed to give it cow milk until the baby is 12 months old. And also don't use the microwave to heat liquids for the baby.
No.
Microwaves
stay away from
create hot spots, and those hot spots could burn the baby.
Yeah, and baby can't communicate, so it's very dangerous. We definitely recommend buying those bottle warmers.
Oh yes,
and use those.
Invest in a good one. Yes,
absolutely.
To clean those bottles, you want to make sure that you wash them in hot soapy water using a bottle and nipple brush.
Yep.
And you rinse and air dry them. They actually recommend that you don't put them in the sink, that you buy some type of basin or bowl to keep those bottles in.
Separate from your dishes.
Yes, separate from your dishes, and that you constantly clean that bowl as well.
Yes, very important.
You just don't want to get the baby sick.
Yep. Anything that you do, your goal is to protect that baby, because they're so young and so delicate. There isn't any medication that they can give them around that time. So your goal is to protect them from germs, and whatever you do is protect them for those few weeks that they're with you.
Mm-hmm. So babies should not have any solid food or any type of cereal until they're about 6 months old.
Yeah, that's serious. Because they can't digest anything at that age. So
breast milk is all they need, or formula. Like that's what it's made for.
Not even water. You can't even give them regular water.
That was my next point. You shouldn't even give them water, no type of other liquids.
Right.
Until 6 months. And then honey. You're not supposed to give a baby honey until they are age 1.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's something about the way that their body's not made to process it yet.
Yeah, and the honey thing, obviously, you're not gonna go buy like a honey bottle and give it to the kids. It's the things that you give the babies, like Zarbee's. Zarbee's is a supplement that kids take, right? Like medicine that young kids take. And the Zarbee's, they have ones that have honey, and then they have the other ones that have that don't have honey. So that's the reason why we're bringing up honey. So it's not like you're going to go buy a honey bottle and give it to the baby, but just watch out the things that you buy, the supplements, all those things that are babies appropriate at the time.
I have heard that culturally, though, like some cultures will think that it's okay to give the baby honey. Like if you give them a little bit of water, put some honey in it to sweeten it up for them. So, yeah, I don't know. I will say, like, culturally, too, like, my mom thought, oh, the baby's thirsty. The baby needs water.
Right.
And because she grew up giving me and my sister water. And, you know.
Those conflicts will come up for sure.
She thinks that's how she raised us. Yeah. And we turned out fine, so it's okay. But, you know, you have to share. Oh, no, like, the pediatrician told us actually not to do that because water is empty calories for the baby. And babies don't need water. They just need breast milk or formula.
Absolutely.
Stand your ground.
Stay on your ground. If you take anything from this episode, just communicate with your in-laws or your mom, especially your mom.
You know your baby best.
Absolutely. You are the expert. As much as you're learning the baby is learning you. You are still the expert because you are the one that gave birth to that baby.
I remember one of our first few nights at home, my mom heard the baby crying and she was like, "Oh, I think the baby has colic. Let me make her a little tea." It was like an herbal tea. I don't remember exactly what herb it was at this point. But she made the baby an herbal tea. And I told you, I was like, "Oh, my mom made the baby tea for her to have." And you were like, "No."
Because that's how she treats you. You get a little cough, she wants to make you atole. She wants to make you tea. She wants to make you all these things.
My ginger tea, yeah.
That's how she treats you. So now she thinks she could basically do the same thing for a newborn baby.
Your solution was like, maybe you should drink it. And then I actually did drink it. And we're like, in our heads, it was like, well, if I'm drinking it, the baby's drinking it too, because I'm going to pass it to her through the breast milk.
Logically speaking, right?
Right. I didn't have the heart to tell her I didn't give her the tea. She wasn't hovering, waiting for me to give it to her. She made it, left it, and then,
Yeah.
moved on.
You just have to appreciate those gestures from your mom, because she was super, super duper helpful. So we're grateful for her help.
So during your time when you bring the baby home, cuddle the baby, hold the baby. There's no such thing as cuddling a baby too much.
Right.
There is no such thing as you're spoiling the baby by holding it for too long. No, it's a baby.
That's what they need.
That's what they need.
Literally.
They need skin to skin. Matter of fact, just be topless. As topless as you can be for as long as you can be.
Yeah. It's like very important for the baby.
Yeah.
We can't stress that enough. Very, very important. Because I remember when you gave birth and they handed me the baby, that's the first thing, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to do. So I said, okay, the worst that I could do right now is take off my shirt and put the baby on my chest, let the baby rest until you come to us. And so that's what I did for like a good whatever minutes until you came. So skin to skin is very important for the baby at that age.
Absolutely. And then other things you can do with the baby: rock the baby, sing to the baby, talk to the baby, read books to the baby. It's going to be sleeping most of the time, honestly, because that's what they do as newborns. It's a very peaceful time when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
But you also want to interact with them and talk to them and get to know them. Like, one big thing that my sister told me after I had Jasleen is you need to get to know her. Like, she's a little human being that you just met.
Right.
So you need to get to know her. And at the time, I was having a really hard time because I felt like I wasn't bonding with her.
Right.
And this goes into, there's a backstory to it. I had a C-section. And with the C-section, I stayed in the operating room while they were fixing me up. And you and Jasleen left.
Right.
And that's during the time that you had her and you were doing skin to skin, right? Like, I'm still finishing my surgery up.
Right.
And you were with her during that time.
Right.
And to me, this is all part of postpartum and all the things, the emotions and everything that comes with childbirth.
Yeah.
I felt like because I missed out on those 30 minutes that I didn't have a big bond with my baby.
Right.
And I was really struggling. And my sister was like, look, that's okay. Like, she just came into your life 3 days ago.
Right.
It's okay for you to not know her, for you to feel like you don't have a bond with her yet.
Right.
She reminded me that Jasleen knows who I am because of the sound of my heart.
Right.
And my scent.
Right.
And my voice, like all those things. She knows who I am.
Right.
Just because she wasn't with me during those 30 minutes doesn't mean that she doesn't know that I was the one that carried her.
Right.
And that was really important for me. And I needed to hear that. I'm sure you probably had said it before, but hearing it from another person, and especially another mom, was really important for me.
Of course.
So as a mom, just enjoy your precious little baby. Hold it, cuddle it, take all that time off that you need. Just take full advantage of other people doing stuff for you. You don't need to be the one cleaning or cooking. No, rest.
This is the time you don't have to be a superwoman.
No, not at all. Just be with your
needy.
baby. Yes, be needy. Tell people to go get you things and do things for you.
It's okay.
But you hold that baby.
Yes.
And you bond with this baby and you love on that baby and do whatever you want to do with that baby. Watch TV with the baby. Whatever you want to do. It's your baby.
It's okay.
And it's okay.
Yes.
I wish I could go back and tell myself that.
Right. Now we can help the next mom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to talk about is bathing. So 3 tips. Assemble all the items you need before you start the bath.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to need to do sponge baths until the umbilical cord falls off the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And always support the baby's head and neck with your hand during bath time.
So I hear you giggling.
Because that's not like how it went.
Okay. Seems like you have a story to tell.
Because I remember, oh my God, her first sponge bath was a nightmare. And it was my fault. Because I didn't prepare properly. I literally grabbed the baby bathtub. I placed it on top of our dining table.
Right.
And I had warm water. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give her a bath. And you were like, are you sure? Do you know how to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to use my mother's intuition.
I remember that.
I don't even know what that is. I don't think I had it. I don't think I have it yet.
It was on internship.
Oh my God. The baby was screaming. Because think about it. I put her in the middle of the kitchen. In the middle of a basement. She's cold.
Yeah. She left her warm...
Right. Yeah. Her warm onesie and her warm blankets to be completely naked and wet and cold.
She was probably scared. Probably thought she was going to get drowned or something.
Of course, my mom comes downstairs and guys, thank God for that because she came down and she helped and she cleaned.
Mom on the rescue.
Mom to the rescue. She held the baby just right. She knew to, avoid the umbilical cord area and she knew what to do. And then afterwards, I wrap her in the towel. I take Jasleen away to go get her changed into the pajamas. And my mom stays to clean up from bath. Turns out I hadn't even closed the water seal on the little bathtub and water was spilling onto our floor. Our kitchen floor.
And we had
I had no idea.
We had a tiny space.
And it was a sponge bath. I guess I didn't expect for that much water to come.
Yeah.
But enough did that it caused a mess. And thank God for moms. Mom helped me clean up and I just focused on the baby.
Wow.
But just be prepared.
What a time. Yes.
Maybe look at a video. If I could go back, I would look at a video.
Go to YouTube University.
Mm-hmm.
Get some videos over there. Ask questions at the hospital. All those type of things. Because at the hospital, they came and got her and they went and cleaned her. So I was there.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw them doing it because you were still in medication. So I saw them doing it. So that's the reason why I had asked you. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, I hadn't even seen.
Yeah, you hadn't seen that. Yeah.
Why didn't you step in?
I went. Wait, hold on. Mother's intuition. Remember?
Whatever, bro. Should have been like, nope. My father intuition is telling me to help you.
I ain't got none at the time.
Anyway, my next point is make sure you wash all of the baby's new clothes before you use them on the baby. Avoid using powders and scented lotions.
Yes.
For when it comes to diapering, the baby will probably go through about 8 to 10 diapers per day.
Oh, yes.
Always make sure you wipe from the front to the back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very common for the baby to have bowel movement after each feeding.
Yes. And the diaper thing, I just want to emphasize, you need to be changing the diapers regularly.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for the baby to get rashes. So
yes, they're so delicate.
Yeah, make sure you change diapers regularly. And it's very, very important to keep them dry and clean. So
I have a little diaper chart here that I want to share because On days 1 to 2, you should expect about 1 to 2 wet diapers.
Yeah.
And then 1 to 2 diapers that are dirty with stool.
Yes.
On days 3 to 4, it's about 3 to 5 wet diapers and 3 to 4 dirty diapers. And then day 5 to about 6 weeks, you'll have 6 to 8 wet diapers per day. This is per day. And then 3 to 6 dirty diapers per day.
Okay.
So for all of these. And then remember, day 1 to 2, you're going to have that black poop. Days 3 to 4, it'll be transitional poop. And then day 5 to 6 will be yellowish if you're breastfeeding the baby.
Yeah.
Kind of, it looks like there's seeds in there.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like pumpkin seeds.
And you need to know these colors because it's likely that they will ask you, the pediatrician will ask you at your appointment, so how many times did the baby go? What does the poop look like? That's the reason why we know this information, because we recorded it.
And then I love Huckleberry because you can put in the color. You can put in whether it was pee or poo or mixed.
Yeah.
Or if the diaper was dry.
That app is really good.
You have the details of was it a little poop, a medium poop, or a big poop.
Yeah.
You can put the color.
Yes.
And you can choose the consistency. Solid, loose, runny, mucousy, hard, pebbles, or diarrhea.
Yes.
And you can even enable, if the baby had diaper rash, you can enable it. And then, I guess you could add in there if the baby had medication for the diaper rash. But I love it.
It's a great app because when we get to the hospital to the pediatrician for appointments, we were looking at that app to give the data and information that was requested from the pediatrician. So it's
great. It's
definitely
and
good
it's
app.
not even the diapers. Like you can put in there once your baby's old enough for solids, you can do information on that.
Yeah.
Feedings, whether it's breast milk or formula, you can go in there. You can change from nursing to bottle. It can even use it as like a timer for when you're nursing.
Yeah.
You can put in the baby sleep. You can put in when the baby starts potty training.
Oh yeah.
You can add information on how long they sat, did they have an accident? That would be a great resource for when you're potty training.
Oh yeah.
You can put medicine, which is super important.
Yeah.
Track growth, track temperature as well, and then they have an area for like activities such as the baby did bath, tummy time, story time, screen time, skin to skin, outdoor play, indoor play. They brushed their teeth. Honestly, I love the app.
The way you're breaking it down.
They should sponsor us.
That's right. I was going to say, you sounded like an ambassador for the app, and you sounded like they're sponsoring this episode, but they're not sponsoring this episode. They didn't even know we're recording this episode about them. So we're just doing you a solid because we want you to progress and be at a better place than we started. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we want to put you at a better place than we started. So this is why.
And then another thing to keep in mind is the baby's sleep pattern. So the baby should sleep between 2 to 4 hours.
Yes.
In the first 2 weeks, do not let your baby sleep more than 4 hours. Remember when Tajani was talking about the baby's stomach?
Yeah.
Only being so small and the baby needing to wake up.
Yeah, most likely they will wake up to eat.
Yeah. But don't let them sleep for more than 4 hours.
Yes.
If you're interested in crib safety information, make sure you look at the Federal and American Society for testing and materials.
Yes.
For guidelines. Car seat. You should have purchased your car seat by the time you go to the hospital.
Yes.
Or wherever you choose to have your baby. And you need to know how to strap the baby onto the car seat.
Yeah, when you get to the hospital, first you're going to leave it in the car. But by the time you leave the hospital, you're likely going to take it from the car, bring it to them, and they will help you basically train you on how to use it.
They just make sure you know how to properly adjust the car seat on the baby.
Yep. Yeah.
A lot of times the upper band, the upper latch.
The strap, yeah.
The upper strap, thank you.
Yep.
Parents tend to place it much lower than it should be.
Right.
Actually needs to be leveled with the baby's collar.
Yes.
So.
Yep. And a little bit tighter.
Mm-hmm.
The latch, the belt itself needs to be a little bit tighter so that the baby doesn't.
And those nurses are trained to like help you adjust it properly.
Yes.
And know what you need to do. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yep, absolutely.
Now some signs of a sick baby. if the baby's skin or the whites of the eyes are tinted yellow, that's something to look out for. If your baby refuses to eat 3 feedings in a row.
Yes.
Or if their rectal temperature is above 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes. That's a high fever right there. So you should definitely contact the pediatrician. And
contact someone. Yeah.
Yep. Right away.
Get your baby some help. Our baby, so when our baby was born, she actually had jaundice.
Yes.
Her skin was yellowish. And so the first night in the hospital, they were like, we're just going to monitor her levels.
Yes.
Second day, really, her levels hadn't changed too much. And so they offered to do, what was it, UV light?
Yeah. UV light, green light, and then she just sleep.
Yeah. So they placed her under the light.
Yeah.
The hardest part is that she needed to be fully uncovered.
Yes.
So she was cold.
Yes.
And
that was very difficult and hard to see.
And her eyes needed to be covered to protect her from the light. Yeah. And so she was uncomfortable.
Yes.
I think.
And there wasn't anything that we could do because it's for her safety as well. So it was difficult for us.
Now, her first night at the hospital, she had slept so well.
Oh, yeah.
And then the second night, she's in this incubator with the UV light underneath her, and she was barely sleeping. It was a very hard night for all of us. And I remember telling the nurse about it, and she was like, you need to know that this is normal for babies. Babies that are not under UV light and babies that are under are going to react the same way the second night. The first night, they're exhausted. They just went through this major life change by coming out of you.
Yeah.
By the second night, it's a different story.
Yeah. They're getting comfortable.
They're not comfortable yet. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable yet. And so they're still adapting, and they're going to have a harder
because
time.
They just left a safety net, a safety nest. And all of a sudden now they're in this world with all this commotion, this noise, these temperatures and everything like that. So I can see how that could be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And just going back on the sleep, when the baby is down, you are down. When the baby is resting.
I think that's very unrealistic, though.
That is true.
If we're being real.
There are things that you need to be taken care of when the baby is asleep. So, but
I think that was like one of the hardest things to do. You know, they say like, oh, when the baby's sleeping, you should be sleeping too. And to me, it was like, oh, shut up. Because
facts.
It's just very unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to wash bottles. I needed to use the bathroom. I needed to eat.
For your own time.
Yes.
That's the only time.
Yes, I need to sleep, but I also need to eat. And I also need to have my own time to go use the bathroom.
Preach
take
that.
A shower.
Preach it.
And I need my own time to, I don't even know.
Just breathe.
Yes.
You just need to breathe. And how could you be breathing when you're sleeping?
Literally. And I love sleeping. Don't get me wrong.
I
love my sleep.
Trust.
I will sleep as much as I can. But during
my wife
that
will
time,
sleep the whole week.
When people would tell me, oh, we sleep when the baby sleeps, it was like, man, if I could get a penny for every time somebody says that, if I could get a slap in, I will definitely do it.
You'll probably be retired by now.
Literally.
Yeah.
I think my favorite phrase to say when I'm really frustrated is, I'm going to start swinging.
Oh, yeah.
No, I never really start swinging. And if I do, it's at the air, not at anybody.
Yes.
But I think I used it a couple times.
When she says that, you got to run. Because if you don't run, when she's swinging at the air, it might mess around and hit you.
I remember telling you one day, if I hear another person tell me, sleep when the baby sleeps, I'm going to start swinging.
Oh, God.
Great times.
Absolutely. So do you have any other tips? Oh, another thing that when we were talking about feeding, definitely also put emphasis on burping the baby.
Yes.
After you feed, burp the baby to release all the reflexes and everything like that. That's important too. Anything else you got before we wrap this up?
I think this was a really good episode. It was very informational. Looking back, and gosh, been there, done that.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah.
It feels surreal.
Yeah, this is information that even with all the research that you did, all the research that we did, right? this is information that you learn on the job. And so now we're grateful that we're able to share this knowledge with you so that at least you'll be starting at a different, starting point than we did.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'd love to pass on that wisdom.
That's what we do. Thank you. This was
welcome.
Nice. Oh yeah. Let's stop right here. Thank you for listening to another episode of How We're Doing It. We want to hear from you. Contact us at hwdipodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment. If you like the show, consider subscribing in order to get notified of new episodes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next episode.
Mama. Bye-bye.